morning, everyone. Today we're going to be installing a front door handle set from Kwikset. And just to give you a little background on how my wife and I got onto the Kwikset door handles. Our last house in Illinois, we had, 3 or 4 doors going into the house, and we had different keys for everything. So I wanted a solution where I could have one key for all the locks. And I happened to find Kwikset at Menards. I found this smart key system they have. So any of their locks that have the smart key technology, you can personally key all your doors alike with that same key. So that's how we got started on them. And about a month and a half, 2 months ago, my wife and I reached out to Kwikset and asked if they'd like to partner with us on this. And kind of surprisingly, they came back and said yes. So we got this front door set that we wanted, and we're going to be installing it here on this door. All right, so we have to notch the door out so this part of the lock will recess. So we'll get it kind of centered where we want it. And then I'll put a screw in just to hold it while I mark it. Kind of the key is this is just keep working a little at a time and try not to get too much. I mean, you can fill it with wood filler if you take too much out, but it definitely always looks nicer if you just get enough out and not too much. So if you guys look on this, you need to figure out what the measurement is from the edge of your door to the center of your lock hole, and then you can adjust it accordingly. And I have, most of them are 2 3/4. So like on this one, it's really simple. All you do is pull this little thing down, slide it over, and slide it back up, and then that centers this part of the locking system in the bore hole. Door handle, you have to drill a hole down here to accommodate for the bottom of this handle. So they give you a template. Got to make sure you fold it along this line. Line up your holes on your door. It's easier if you have 2 people. And then make a mark. And then what I do is I always measure to double check. So 9 1/8. 9 1/8. So my mark is where I need it. And the nice thing about this door latch is you can see if you're not perfect, this door gives you a little bit of adjustment, actually quite a bit of adjustment to hit that hole, so you can make sure that your handle is square to the door. So we'll go ahead and drill that hole, and then we can get this up. Alright, so we're ready to put this in. I got everything adjusted right. This top pin actually goes below the deadbolt, and you'll see why when I put the other part in. But you just got to line all the grooves up. This is an adjustable bolt down here. Alright, so you can see that this little pin actually went below the lock, and if you look on this, that pin goes in here, and then when you turn the lock, it actually will turn the actual deadbolt. So we got to get those two lined up with those two. Now before you tighten these, you want to make sure you're level on the outside. Good. All right, now we can install the lower handle. Alright, so one tip I'll give you is it's probably better to tighten these with a handheld screwdriver versus like a drill, because you could end up over tightening them and stripping them out. So got to make sure they're nice and level. And the last thing is there's this little cap that snaps over here. Just pushes on, gives you a nice finished look. So all the door handle itself is installed. The only thing we have left to do is install the strike plates, and we'll be done. Before I put the strike plate on, I like to push the door up so that the bolt is up against the jamb, and then I'll mark above and below with the pencil. Then I can put my strike plate up and make sure that that bolt is going to end up in the hole. Sometimes they can get out of alignment, and it's a lot easier if you check before you put screws in. Guys, we just completed the door handle install on the front door. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Another lock that I'm going to install on the house is this Kwikset Smartcode Deadbolt. I love these because if you forget your key, you can just type in your user code. You can assign up to 30 different codes to work with this lock. So this is a pretty cool feature. And it also has a keyhole that works with the smart key lock system. So if the battery would happen to go dead, within my experience, the batteries are pretty good on these. You can still unlock the lock with your key. So, all right, guys. So this is a new door as well. So I have to cut this out so this lock can recess in the door. If you're just doing this to replace a lock, you probably won't have to do this. It'll probably already be done. So I'm going to center this up, and then I'm going to put a screw in it to hold it in place while I mark it. All right, so on that first door, you saw me use the razor blade and chisel to do this part of the process. And then on the composite part of the jam, I actually used my Dremel tool, and that was the first time I ever did that. It's just that composite was too hard to do with the chisel and the razor blade, and it worked awesome. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do that on this and see how it works, but I think it's going to work way better. I'm just going to freehand it. I think I can be steady enough that I can do a good job. So get these out. I got it marked. I need to go about, I don't know, an 1/8 to 3/16 inch deep. All right, we got that done. So I suppose it's time to get the directions out and see how we can get the rest of this installed. Guys, the instructions are pretty easy to follow on this, but I'll just go through it with you. So if you have a 2 1/8 inch bore, they send you with this adapter ring. Basically, just put that up to your door. If it fits in there, you're going to want to use it. And majority of the doors are going to be 2 1/8, so you're going to need it. So then you're going to take the outside touch screen. You're going to put that ring around it like so, and then place it in the door. You want to make sure you thread this wire below the bolt. And then you're going to take this little guy and you're going to place that up against the door, and that wire is going to go through that center hole. I found with installing locks, you want to just get, when you first put it in, just snug these up and then get everything squared up. You want to look on the outside, make sure you're square, nice and straight before you tighten it up. All right, once you get to this point, you want to put your key in, and you want to make sure the deadbolt moves nice and easy. This is a powered lock, so the power unit on this has to be able to move this bolt, so it needs to be nice and free. So just check that a couple times, and as long as it moves in and out freely, then you're good to go to the next step. If not, you're going to have to adjust it so that bolt moves easier. But that needs to be pointed up for the next part of this to work. So now you're going to take this and you're going to hook this piece up to the piece that's on the door. So just connect the wires, and they only go in one way, so. And then you're just going to tuck this piece down underneath this bolt. And there's a diagram in the directions that kind of shows you how to do this, so it's kind of hard to get the camera on it. And then this piece just slides on. See these little tabs right here? These little tabs, there's grooves, and that whole thing just slides right on there. It's pretty easy to do, and then there's screws you got to put in the side, so we'll do that now. So here's the little battery pack, and you're just going to install the batteries in there. Pretty simple. You can see on the top there's a little says door, and then there's arrows so you know which side faces the door. All right, so the next step is to insert the battery pack and have the unit itself, it has to learn where the bolt is at. So the way I find to do this best is it's supposed to do it automatically, but I kind of like to do it manually. So there's a learn button right here. You press and hold that, and as you're holding it, you drop the battery pack in and then release it. And then you push this button one more time, and it'll learn the position of the lock. And then on the outside of the door, on the touchpad, it'll tell you whether it passes or failed. This passed, so now I'm good to go on to the next step. All right, so you can program this lock to work with your smart home system. I do not have that set up yet. So all I'm going to do is I am going to add a user code so that I can just punch in a code and the lock will open. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. It's a pretty simple process. The door's got to be open. You press the program button once. A check mark will show up here on the front of the door. You hit the check mark. You enter the code you want. We'll just use 1, 2, 3, 4 for now. Between 4 and 8 characters, and then you hit the lock button. Now it should be programmed. And there it is. All right, guys, the last step here is just to put the cover on, the finished cover. And there's 3 finished screws that you'll have to put in, 1 on each side. And these you just want to put in just nice and snug, nothing, don't crank on them. And then there's 1 on the bottom, which is a little bit harder because you can't get squared to it, so you want to make sure you don't strip it out. And you are ready to go. One of the cool features about this lock is if you're worried about people being able to look to see what buttons you push by looking at your fingerprints, it's got a secure feature on it where when you touch it to open it, 2 numbers will randomly pop up, and there'll be different numbers every time, and you have to hit those before you enter your code. And by doing this, it will randomly pick different numbers, so every number gets hit at some point, so your fingerprint will be on all the numbers versus just the ones you use over and over again. So it's kind of a cool feature that it has. It kind of eliminates another way people can figure out your combo. But you can have up to 30 combinations programmed into this lock. So that's pretty cool. So you can have a code for different people if you so wish. I think we'll probably just have one. But still a really cool lock, and pretty pumped up about it. I'm going to show you how easy it is to rekey this lock. So you have to have the key that currently works with the lock. So you can see this is the key that works with the lock. It opens and closes it. So this is how quick and easy it is to rekey this. So this is the key that I want to work. This works with the front door. I want all the door locks to be have the same key. So you take the key that works with the lock, you turn it so it's sideways, 90 degrees. You insert the little tool in the opening, which will allow you to pull the key out. You can pull the tool out, put your new key in. Now it's rekeyed, and I'll show you that the other key no longer works. It's that simple. It's less than 10 seconds, and that is why I originally started using the Smart Key system by Kwikset. So I really appreciate you watching this video. I hope it was interesting to you, and I just want to let you guys know that as my channel grows and hopefully I embark on more partnerships and things of that nature, I'm not going to represent something that I don't believe in. That means something to me, because if I don't like something or believe in it, I'm not going to tell you guys or that it's good or recommend it just because maybe I'm getting a free product or I'm getting paid. I have to believe in something to use it. So rest assured, if I'm going to tell you that something is good, and in my opinion it is good and it is worth the money to spend on it. So I really believe that with Kwikset. I actually reached out to them and asked if they'd be willing to partner with us on this, and they agreed. So my experience with them has been great from the day I first started using them several years ago. So if you're in the market for some new locks for your doors and you want a way to key all your doors the same quickly and easily at a reasonable price, check out Kwikset and check out their line of Smart Key locks. It's quick, it's easy, and they actually have really good products. So I'm proud to use them, and hopefully you guys will check them out if you're in the market for some new locks. So thanks for watching, and we'll check you on the next video.